Good morning. I am in Okayama, Kurashiki to be exact. I'm gonna buy one of those pens when on the way back.
Okay.
Thought you could only get them in Kyoto, but we woke up early, had breakfast. Just your standard fare, with the only exception being that we got udon with breakfast as well. Now we drove about an hour away to Okayama, which is now our 5th prefecture on this trip, and we're just walking in the old town of Kurashiki. And this is just kind of some of the old stomping grounds for me. We're currently going to the local temple and shrine that's right next to the old town. As we came in, we walked along the canal. We actually parked over by the canal. We're just walking here now, checking everything out. Lynn's never been here before, so it's all new to her, which is kind of cool. But yeah, now we have a pretty treacherous hike up. I remember doing these stairs quite a few times. I remember them not even being all that even, but they look pretty well made now. Has been 15 years almost, so anyhow, we'll check back in a moment here. Once I get to the top, I guess. Or once we find our next spot. Anyhow, back in a sec. Alright, so we are back in the city. I wouldn't say we're in the center. We're actually at the far edge of Kurashiki Bikan Old Town. And we just came down from the temple. The shrine and the temple are both very different than what I remembered. And I will say one really cool thing. We did find the original path that I remember taking up to the shrine, which is this dirt path that's uneven, has like roots coming out in the stairs and everything. I don't know, maybe we just missed the stone stairs because it looks like those have always been there, but it's just not what I remember. Or it could just be my memories off, which that clearly could definitely be the reason why. We went up to the temple, and I've never been to this temple before. I have no recollection of it, like standing in there and walking through, like none of it is familiar to me. So that was kind of neat. Made an offering at both for Mom. Decided that we should come back to the town, finish our walkthrough, and then get going to the next place, which is Onomichi, and then go back, do some shopping along the way, try to get Mom her noodles that she's looking for, and then finish off. Anyhow, back in a sec. Hello from Charlie in the future. I just wanted to put a quick insert here, and the reason being is that I totally forgot to mention two things that we did while we were in Kurashiki. The first was once we came down the mountain, or the place where the shrine and the temple were for Kurashiki, we went and Lynn found a donut shop, Kurashiki Donuts no Ki, and they did a donut version of a kibidango, or a donut dango, I guess you could call it, which was just donuts, like mini donuts that were put onto a skewer. It was neat. It was good. And those, they're just donuts. They're mochi donuts, I should say. So they were chewier, which was nice. And then when we were leaving the place, we also went by the very far end of the canal. Right at the corner, there's a place called Koedo, and they serve a bunch of different confectionaries, but we saw a big poster saying that there is a snack called a chofu, and that is a staple confectionery of Okayama, and that is like news to me. So I don't actually know about it, so I was like, we should try this. And the name comes from the fact that it looks like a chimney, and I believe chofu means chimney, but it is a castella cake that is made flat like a pancake, and then it's rolled, and then they fill it with something, and we actually got it filled with sweet potato. So this is actually important because later on I'm going to refer to this when we're in Onomichi, and I realized there's no A roll of this, nor is there any of the B roll of this, so I'm going to go ahead and insert this here and say, we're going to check back in here in just a second at the next stop in Kurashiki. And I am at Ivy Square. It's been years since I was last here. I'm actually quite shocked. Place looks exactly the same. Like, it's really nice. Real quick history, used to spin wool, I believe, or spin cloth here until World War II. After World War II, it got kind of defunct, stopped doing anything, and then they converted it to a hotel some years later, which it is now, and there's a huge souvenir store right in the front. I will say that this is inspired by Europe. The reason why they have all the ivy on the walls is to cool the building down during summer. Oh, that guy just turned over. So they have a bunch of turtles over here, and one just happened to flip himself. So I don't know what's gonna happen. Oh, there he goes. Nature will find a way. Oh, there he goes. He flipped himself back over. So, yeah, wondering what's going on right now. Anyhow, so just all these turtles right here in this little pond. Very cool place. And the building was inspired by Europe. That's actually why they made it out of all this red brick. Quick side note, there must not be that many earthquakes in this area. Like, I know Okayama didn't really have any. So, brick shatters, like the mortar really just disintegrates in earthquakes. So, and when I was living here, I don't think I was ever told to have to worry about earthquakes. Typhoons, yeah, but not earthquakes. Anyhow, we'll continue on here and check back in a moment. And welcome to Onomichi. We are currently at the temple at the base of the ropeway. We just came down, and I would say we are starving, so we're gonna go get some ramen. But going to the temple at the top, Sennoji, I think it was, you could take the ropeway all the way up, and then you have to walk down to the temple. My advice would be not to do what we did, which is we bought a round trip ticket to go up and down, but just buy the ticket up and then walk the path down. It's about a 20-minute walk, but it's worth the walk because there is something that we're gonna kind of miss here in Onomichi, which is this very narrow lane now. Like, it's pretty famous, like the cat road. I'll have to see if we can get there from another direction, but we're running out of sunlight, and it's actually something that we're gonna have to try to pay attention to. And so there are some other things that I want to go see. There's still the temple, and then I actually want to go to the Shotenkai here, the shopping center, and walk down that if possible, which I think that's just right across the street. So we'll see what happens. I'll check back in a moment here. But yeah, back in a sec. Welcome back. We actually went to go get ramen just now at Onomichi Ramen. Unfortunately, I forgot to film the outside, but I did get some shots of our food, which the broth was nice and light. The noodles were perfectly bouncy. It was good. It's not my personal favorite, but so many schoolgirls. Wasn't my favorite, but it wasn't bad either. Now here are the guys. So school must have just got out. It's just like a ton of students coming. Anyhow, it's about 5 o'clock. The main thing is that we were starving because we haven't eaten anything since the little whatever crepe thing that we got from Kurashiki that had the chestnut mochi in it. And so the ramen did the job. It filled us up. That's what we're looking to do. Oh, it's a omiyage shop, a souvenir shop. We're actually walking through the Shotenkai here at Onomichi, and yeah, at 5 p.m. So unfortunately, it's like everything is closed, everything is shuttered. Were they opening or were they closing? I thought he was closing up.
No, the gate was lifting.
Oh, okay, so he's just open. So there was a shop just opening. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure you'll see it as I walk by. This is the one with the Ultraman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It startled me because I wasn't expecting it to come.
And then that, like, all those kids just coming all of a sudden.
Seriously.
So I think this is pretty much it. We're gonna go look for that temple that I was talking about. I'm just gonna drive along the railroad and see if we run into it. We'll see what we run into. Oh, so this is super nice. it's hard for them to cross because this is a main street. The what do you call it? The Shotenkai is a main street for pedestrians, and so they have to stop in order to let all of them go. Now, the one thing I will note is that typically they don't let you ride your bike through the Shotenkai. You have to walk it. So seeing all those kids ride their bikes through was like throwing me off. Yeah, obviously they were used to it, but in Okayama there'd be like old security men like, get off your bikes, walk your bikes. But geez, that girl's backpack, it's bigger than she is. That's crazy. Anyhow, quick side note, I don't think I mentioned this before. When we got to the top of the Tenkoji temple ropeway, we got some lemonade and lemon ice cream. And there's a reason for this, because we're in Hiroshima. It's actually right now, it's the perfect time for lemons. And Hiroshima is actually well known for lemon stuff, so thus the lemonade and the lemon ice cream. Limes was over in Kagawa.
Oh, fair enough.
So that's the Sudachi. But oh, train's about to come. But I think we'll just follow that guy and see if we could run into the temple where the train actually has to go through the temple or a shrine. I can't remember which it was, but I do remember that there is one here. On the way down, we ran into a group of tourists trying to debate whether to buy a round trip or not, and we actually were able to convince them not to. But oh, Lynn just paid for parking. Hold that thought. I will continue that story in a second. Back in a moment. Alright, so we actually came back to where we just left. To finish the story I was saying earlier, there were a group of tourists that were trying to decide whether they wanted to go up or not, or a round trip or not, rather. And I told them, don't do the round trip, just go up and then walk down. And I explained why. I told them that if they went up, the walk down is about 20 to a half an hour. And the walk down, they'll actually cross the cat alley, which actually has a ton of like cat-themed items or the Lucky Cat-themed items. And they could continue just walking down there before coming all the way to the bottom. And, I mean, really, if they did do the round trip and go all the way up like we did, they get all the way to the top, and then they go down to the Tenkoji, and then have to walk back up to the ropeway, which that's just silly. You know, just do it once and walk down, and you're good. So, now, the reason we came back was because there is the Tenneiji temple right here, and a train track goes through it. Now, this isn't the one that we were actually looking for, but it's cool that train tracks go through the temple. There's one that I think is more obvious and less subtle. This is pretty subtle that it does that. But being that we're out of light now and pretty much out of time, we decided to just stop, check it out, and then we'll go ahead and get to our next spot. Anyhow, there'll be at least one more check-in. We'll talk to you in a second. Alright, welcome back. We are back at the hotel, the Route Inn, and it was pretty uneventful. The drive back was fairly quick. It took about 2 hours. It was pleasant, and we debated whether we wanted to take the same route back or take a new route that would add an hour to the trip, but would be entirely new. Because, funny enough, we were close enough to two different bridges, the Seto bridge, and then I actually forget what bridge we took, the one that's between Okayama and Kagawa. We ended up taking the route we used in the morning to go back to Kagawa from Hiroshima. And so it kind of brings most of this trip to an end. We still have one more day of travel tomorrow. Hopefully that will go smoothly. Oh, we gotta look at our tickets. I know we can't check in just yet because they won't let us. There's something to do with the domestic flight that we're starting on. Hopefully our luggage could just go through and be passed over to San Francisco without issue. We got back, and the first thing we did was kind of go to a book off to go look for more souvenirs. Like, book off here is so amazing. You could get used manga at like 110 yen, or seriously, like the whole series of manga for like 3,000 yen. And it's the entire series. It's probably like 11, 12 books. Or maybe it's not the entire series. Maybe it's just 11 or 12 books. But it's really dirt cheap. And great way to get more manga if, I mean, I guess you have to read Japanese though. It's also a great way to get used games, whether it's board or video. Use like items like figurines, and what else do they have? They had all sorts of, I don't know what to call them, like Hot Wheels cars. Except over here it's Toyomi, I think? Something like that. It's their little cars. We actually got one for someone back home. I mean, yeah, they're great. So it's just such an easy thing to do. We stopped off at 2 of the book offs, and after the first book off that we stopped off at, Lynn was kind of disappointed because she didn't find any of her Animal Crossing amiibo items that she was looking for, and they're like dirt cheap here. They're like $1 or 100 yen. And so I'm like, all right, that's too bad, but I'm kind of hungry. Let's go get dinner. It was like 8 o'clock. So we went over to Yoshinoya's to pick up dinner. And we both got the half karage, half gyudon, or half gyu beef don rice bowl. And I made it a tonjiro salad set. And the place wasn't all that busy, but it was also, like, I was kind of wondering, does Lynn really want to make this the last dinner here in Japan? And she mentioned, she's like, we already went to Matsuya and we already went to Tsukiya. So she'd like to kill off all 3 of the beef bowl places with Yoshinoya. And I'm like, that makes sense. Let's go ahead and do it. Wasn't the best food, but it wasn't bad either. And Lynn really liked the karage. Personally, I think in the end it was worth it. And it was inexpensive. It was like, I think $12, something like that, for the 2 of us for dinner. And then after that, we went over to Marunaka to get... hey Lynn, you want the coins? Lynn's gonna go use the sento, the baths downstairs, because it's part of the hotel, and she loves that. So why not use the public baths if they're available? After going to Yoshinoya's, we went to Marunaka to pick up some shirataki for Mom. Shirataki, right? Yeah. The konjac noodles. And they're super cheap over here. I think we bought them for like $2 a piece in the States, in California. And over here, they're 48 yen per. So they're like what? It's like a quarter for a bag. The same size bag. So that is crazy cheap. We picked up quite a few bags of that for Mom before moving on to the last book off, where Lynn was able to find, like, I want to say hundreds of those amiibos, and particularly the amiibo cards. So she has almost all the amiibo figurines, and those are far and few in between at these book offs. But the amiibo cards, they literally had, like, if you go to a hobby shop that does Magic the Gathering, they had those long trays of cards, and she was going through all of them. We literally stayed until they closed. I found what I wanted and was like reading manga while Lynn was still going through each one, and she kind of got through most of it. She got through probably about 90% of it, maybe all of it, before she was like, oh, that's the closing music. We'll go ahead and finish off here. Now it's just back to packing and making sure everything fits, and hopefully we don't go overweight. That's my biggest fear. So we'll see what happens. I don't think my bag's over 50 pounds. I think it's quite solidly under it, but we'll see tomorrow at the airport. Maybe I'm gonna have to take out a few clothes to put in my backpack. Other than that, everything is good. We're back here at the hotel. This is our last night in Japan, and I think other than packing, we are good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and close out here. I think, well, one thing's for sure, I'm putting the big camera away, and I don't believe I'll be pulling it out again tomorrow. It'll just be my iPhone. Oh, side note, my news app on my iPhone used like 2 gigs of my data of the 10 that I bought. So I am currently out of data, which is just nuts to me that it used so much. But yeah, and then my maps used another 6 gigs. So wow, I have to say I'm really surprised about that. I have to really make sure I turn off background data when traveling. God, all the data that was just wasted on that. Stupid. Anyhow, it is what it is. Can't be helped. And so I'll say goodnight, and we'll see you probably in one final video for tomorrow. Anyhow, good night.